Yo, welcome to Music as a Day Job. I'm your host, Sean. I'm also the CEO of Qoncert. Qoncert is an artist accelerator app that takes artists from opener to headliner to on tour and gives the fan the best experience in live independent music. Today is one of the topics that a lot of people talk about that are in the music industry, and tons of artists come to me and ask me, is it a scam? Is it a scam? What's a scam? Is this show a scam? Is this da 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 da? Now, see, the one thing that I pride myself in with Concert, of course, is uh the the ability to see the blueprint, the transparency. And that's why, because the music industry has tons of scams in it. You know, the music industry has so many scams, and that's what people always question, like, what's this scam? And it gets to the point that even as me as an artist, I thought everything is a scam. You know what I'm saying? And like, so I'm gonna explain what those scams are. And I wish there was more transparency with these things that we see all the time, just like what I do with Concert. Like, so for instance, I always based, is it a scam, off of basically off the transparency of it. A lot of these things people offer you are situations that have no tangible return. And what I mean by that is, a lot of these situations are numbers on the internet, are views, impressions on the internet, and impressions only help you if you already do a lot of the work yourself. And that's the sad thing that a lot of people don't tell you about it, is they'll offer you, man, you can get all these views and these streams and be a part of these playlists and everything, but that doesn't mean you get any more fans. That just means that you got put in front of those situations. So you're paying to get put in front of these situations, and you're hoping that your music catches on or catches fire to these situations. And that's why I tell people, watch when you deal with these situations, because it's like, doesn't do anything. Even when people, like, you can pay to get on a tour or pay to get on this big ass show, like, none of that. Like, if you're on a national show, what does that do? Like, if you think you're going to turn over all those fans, if you don't have enough fans in that building at that time to make it seem like you're popping, so those fans start turning over to yours, then you just got on the show to get on the show. So a lot of these situations, like, I see, man, you can get you can be a playlisted, you can be put in all these different things and all this stuff like that. Hey, how can I find these fans? And that's what when I built Concert, that's what was my goal, because this is the only thing that I knew that was direct, and I could see the actual return. So then when I'm saying, hey, you need 100 fans in a city to be worth 500 to $1,000. You need 100 to 150 fans to be worth 500 to $1,000 a night. If you know who those 500 people are, if you know who those 100 people are to be worth 500 to $1,000, you actually directly know these consumers. So it isn't no, like, there is no questioning of this. There is just, like, the worst case scenario when you sell tickets for a situation that has upward momentum. Now, some people get mad because tons of people have people selling tickets for events that don't have any upward momentum. Inside my app, you can get to the point where you can sell tickets and start going from city to city, and move from city to city and create your own tours. You can do all this because your numbers equal up, and you can start moving like that. And you can start getting to bigger and bigger shows. You can get on shows at 1,000 person venues and 3,000 person venues and everything, because you actually know the blueprint. The worst case scenario is that you built tons of fans. And, like, the worst case scenario for anybody that follows our formula is that they just built tons of fans. And in the future, they can replicate those fans and sell merch and do everything they want to forever. That's the worst case scenario. When I buy onto a national show and I do, like, I just want to buy onto a national show so I can be with this national, the worst case is that I just paid for that much money for that moment to stand in front of those people and no one cared. That means nothing. I don't get anything really out of it. And then when I buy all these streams and all these playlists and all this stuff like that, I don't know who listened to it. See, the crazy thing is you buy onto all these streams and views and all this stuff like that. The only thing you really gain is the look for the moment. So you'd have to do everything else to make this look be leveraged towards something for you to get something out of this. And so all these, like, I'd go into these like industry scams where a dude would be like, man, I know I'm the manager of what's his name's cousin, and then he's going to do this for you, and then you done paid $5,000 for him to tell you what you need to do. Like, for what? Like, you pay this much, and then he's going to get you to connect to this dude, and then they gonna might play your song on the radio a couple times, and then for what? Like, you can't control any of those consumers. You need to be able to control the consumers yourself. You have to see them. You have to come see them. You have to see them in person, because then you can actually control your future yourself. You can be like, hey, I have this many fans. I'm worth this much. This is how I'm going to replicate this in every other city so I can make money. These other situations, I don't see where the benefit is. So people will get mad at me because I don't participate in them. They have all these different like get-togethers and things like that. And it's like the only thing that's teaching is a person will come from the industry and be like, man, if you had the song right and you had the song sounding like this and then you on the trend of this. Yeah, if you can do all 10 million of those things that they're going to say that you got to do, and then you got to know the person to get it to and all this stuff, like, well, no, you know what I'm saying? I want to cuss right there, but hey, yeah, if I could do all that, I'd be there. So right now, what I have to do is just grab some fans. I can have 1,000 people like me and not have any of that. And I can have 1,000 people like me and actually start seeing monetary benefit from it. But these things sell people the dream. And see, the dream is that you will get famous and you'll be the next Drake, or you'll be the next, Michael Jackson or anything like that. How many Drakes, how many Michael Jacksons do we know? Like, the reality of this is you're putting yourself in a game of like a riskier game than Vegas. Is you're saying that 1 in a million or whatever that is, that you can roll that song and get all this placed correctly. And it all depends on everyone except you, basically. So everyone is going to have to do this to get you from here to here. And that's basically what the music industry is all of them will have to get you here. All the people on the radio, all the people that are playing in the clubs, all these situations have to formulate for you to get up here. And all the money has to be transferred correctly and everything like that for you to get from here to here. And they'll tell you all the different things that you can do and pay for to try to make that look. You got to have the right views. You got to have the right streams. You got to have the right sound. You got to have the right look. You got to have the right brand. You got to have all this. And you have to pay all these different people to make that happen. And this is where it starts getting scammy, because inside this, what they don't tell you is you still have to go do what I'm asking you to do, is to find the consumer. And if you don't find a consumer, then what they get to do is take all your money because then they're going to go find a consumer for you. And then they're going to say, hey, all you did was perform it. So you're worth the 5 cents, the 5 or 2, the 0.007 cents a stream now. And that's where all this becomes like this, is because they don't say these things. They say basically, they make it sell like, hey, if you just had this, if you just was on these 2 playlists, man, you pop. I see people with millions of plays every day. Millions and millions of plays. Can't do one show. No one will come out. And see, that's the part where it's scammy. Is because, and that's why people feel like it's a scam. And that's why it kind of is a scam, is because everyone can give you the hook of, hey man, I can get you to meet this person. If you pay him, you can meet this dude, or you can get this feature with this dude and he's not going to even pump it. Because the thing is, even with features, you can get a feature with a person and then it's kind of scammy, because the gist of it is they ain't gonna pump it. You're better off getting your feature, spending less money and getting your feature from people who are popping in these areas, the local cats that are popping in these areas. Get your feature from that kid. because that kid at least is going to pump it. And at least then you can jump on his shows and he can jump on your shows and you can mix and match now, because then at least you start gaining a little bit of fans in those areas. Yeah, for the moment, you can have a song with one of these big cats and everything like that, and some people might look at it, but then that didn't mean anything for you, really. And they're not going to say it. So then now, and if for them to say it, you're going to pay way more money. And I watch dudes just not show up to video shoots, not pump it after they said they were and everything like that, and in contract. Or it gets pulled because the label pulls it. So now this is why all this stuff looks scammy. So that's why you want something that it has transparency to it. And that's why we do concerts, because we want that transparency. This is what you're worth at this level. I'm trying to help you get to the point of you using your fans as leverage to start finding new fans from other artists and finding new fans everywhere else, because you're getting an opportunity to perform. You're getting an opportunity to be in front of everybody. So then in those moments, you're taking advantage of it and going like, hey, I'm going to keep stacking more fans and more fans. And then we'll help you even more to get you in other places and get you to give you more opportunities to be like, hey, you're doing the work, so let's get you in other places, and so you can start replicating that work. And then from there, you start bringing your merch and you start getting sponsors and you start understanding these things that we're teaching to be like, hey, this is how I'm getting money and this is how I'm moving. Then I have everything I need. So then worst case scenario, if I never get to a deal and I never get signed, or none of these people ever hear me, or I ever get the amount of plays for me to be in their sites, I can still be successful with what I want to do. And that's the goal of this. So that's where we take away those scammy ideas and we start building a real blueprint for you to be successful.